Hey, this is Cavallo from datingadviceguru.com. You ever felt like you're dating a guy that's just not all that emotional? Well, today I'm going to give you 3 signs to warn you if you're dating an emotionally unavailable man. Men are looking for the attraction first, and women can often hold off on that part if they can find the kind of man, the character of man that they want. It's not right or wrong, it just is. And if I'm right about you, and I think I probably am, you're probably a woman that's ready for more. And you'll want to hear what I have to say here about avoiding those guys that are emotionally unavailable. But hang on, because I got something a little shocking to say. Most men are not emotionally unavailable. Oh, I know that's going to send many of my fans screaming away. They're going to show up at my house with torches and pitchforks, and they're going to be screaming, "Send out the monster!" Sure, some guys are out of touch with their emotions, but most men are actually not. What most magazines, gurus, books, and television shows tell you is emotional unavailability is actually something that is, well, it's a little different in disguise. I'll tell you a little bit in a minute about what that is, but first, let me shock you once more. Mature men in your target zone do not think like the meatheads that went to clubs in their 20s. Sure, some of them act a little douchey and they act like that, but it's a lack of enlightenment. And you probably aren't interested in that type of guy anyways. You want to find the right guys, the ones that are attracted to you and you're attracted to them. So I'm going to give you 3 signals that will tell you whether or not you're dating one of these emotionally unavailable guys. So signal number 1 is he's not in touch with himself. For most men, being emotionally unavailable is not just about sharing his feelings with you or about his expression of his emotional state. Newsflash, men will probably never show you emotions on the same level as what a woman will, at least not as diversely. Being emotionally available is about his openness to you and himself. His availability is about where he is right now emotionally and his willingness to sit around with that discomfort instead of running away from it or presenting all the problems in his life as if they're fixed and all figured out. Now, this signal also includes the not so subtle ways that a guy will seem to never accept the blame for anything in the relationship. That's a really big indicator. But I'll give you a hint here. If he's still blaming his ex and all his past exes for relationships that didn't work out, you've got a problem. However, a mature man knows what his contribution is to any relationship problems, or at least he suspects what they are. So you have to be able to separate these 2 situations and see them clearly. If this guy is still ducking out on any kind of accountability, you're going to have an uphill battle for years to come. Ask yourself, is he a superficial guy? Is he entranced with just appearances? Is he a guy that's deeply vain about how he looks, his own appearance? Is he able to connect with people that he doesn't need anything from? That's a huge one right there. And can he hold a deep conversation about, well, anything? He needs to have the skills of holding more deep thoughts than Joey on Friends, okay? Sign number 2 that he's emotionally unavailable is that he's got an obvious relationship pattern. Most legitimately emotionally unavailable guys, well, that's a mouthful, most of the legit ones, they have a clear pattern in their relationships, and it reveals their emotional maturity in detail. You should do your best to find out if he's got a pattern that goes a little something like this. He starts out hot and heavy, he'll move to sex really fast, not because that's the only thing he wants, it's because he's bypassing intimacy just to stay comfortable in his pattern. He may even have genuine feelings for you, but he doesn't know how to handle them. Then he starts out with all the right moves. He's well rehearsed at the opening stages of a relationship because he practices them a lot. Then he starts to grow impatient with the non-sexual part of relating to you. This is where the cracks start to show. He'll start to withdraw as he runs into his own limitations in relating to someone else's needs. Eventually he cheats or he breaks off the relationship to pursue someone new to start the pattern all over again with. He's probably hoping that the one will be happy to have him and not demand his emotional engagement in communicating his feelings. Of course, he's always going to be disappointed and he'll move on yet again and again and again. Now that's the pattern you're probably used to, and I'm here to tell you that just because he pulls away from you, that does not mean that a man is emotionally unavailable or shut down or even narcissistic. These are the popular labels that many of the self-righteous gurus out there like to use to label men, to put that name on men, to make us seem like we're broken or we're defective in some way. Remember, if a guru uses that tone like, men, they suck, you got to really think about that. That's an unbalanced point of view. He's emotionally shut down. Sign number 3, he just won't go there. Relationships require a lot of self-awareness, to be sure, but when your man won't entrust your communication and level of intimacy by going there with you, you're going to have a struggle. Now, what I mean by going there is that place where our insecurities and faults lie, the ability to admit we're wrong or to show those cracks in the veneer. Relationships succeed most when the ugly parts are fully recognized and accepted. I'll give you an example. I can be really impatient when I'm pushed to a limit. I know it, and I try to keep that part of me out of the equation when it comes up. My wife and family accept this part about me, and we actually talk about it when it comes up. Without the ability to go there, I'd look just like about every other emotionally unavailable narcissist out there. Now, this particular sign of emotional withdrawal or unavailability, of not talking about your flaws, usually shows itself as a sudden, powerful defensiveness. It's often painful to run into because it feels like you just hit a brick wall at 60 miles an hour. Angry defensiveness works for most guys. We have this routine down pat. Why do we do this? Well, men go to anger very quickly. It's our go-to emotion. As quickly as most women can go to tears, men go to rage. Number two is women tend to fear confronting a man's anger. It feels like disconnection to her, so she accommodates and avoids his anger by trying her best not to trigger it, to walk on eggshells. And yeah, it can be scary running into that anger threshold of a guy. Number three is that men know women react this way, and we often use our anger as a way to push you back from the edges of our feelings so we can stay out of that uncomfortable zone. It's kind of like a porcupine's quills. It keeps us in a little safe place. So it sometimes takes a little bit of loving, strong patience on your part to get past that wall. If you can do it, you'll be rewarded by his loyalty and trust, and the wall around his heart will grow weaker with every ounce of patience you can muster. You see, both men and women can be emotionally unavailable. You might not know this given all the literature devoted to making men look like emotionless robots. There are probably as many women that are too emotionally available, in fact, as there are men in the other side of it. So let me assure you that most men are very emotional. In fact, what often appears to you as a man who is emotionless is simply a guy who doesn't really spend a lot of time in that think about my feelings state. And men are cultured to hide their feelings. Guys are simple like that. We feel and forget pretty quickly. Most men will never have a desire to go very deep into their emotional states. Men can feel them, but do not get a lot of satisfaction from extensive analysis of what we're feeling. However, there is a shortcut into a man's heart, a way past all the defenses, all the walls, the obstacles that he puts up that seem to be between you and getting his love. It's a great roadmap that I created to show you how to get into his heart and get him to eagerly commit to you. Now, I want to reveal the Cupid effect and how it works to help you get him to open up to you faster and without all that hassle. Just click the link you see below the video and I'll take you to a really quick presentation about the Cupid effect and how it works with men. And as always, you got to do those three things. You got to subscribe, keep getting these videos every single week. Make sure you also like the video and leave me your comments and questions below. I love to hear your questions and it helps me to come up with what I'm going to talk about in the next video. That's simple enough, right? This is Cavallo from datingadviceguru.com. As always, live and love with passion.